What's up guys, it's Aust S Outdoors bringing you guys another video. Today we're doing an unboxing and a first impression of a brand that's pretty well known around the industry. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of them, especially if you're into the self-filming side of stuff, of hunting or anything like that. And that brand would be Fourth Arrow. For those of you who don't know who they are, or if you haven't heard of them, they are basically a filming company, or a filming accessories company that specializes in hunting. They have anything from camera arms, like tree arms, to little GoPro accessory mounts, fluid heads, and a whole bunch of other products. They make some really cool stuff. I've heard great things about them. I personally have never had anything from Fourth Arrow. This will be my first product from them. I've had some camera arms in the past, and I've heard that these are really sturdy, and my camera setup's a little heavy for the one I have now. And I've heard really good things about these, so I decided to pick one up, and we're gonna open it and see what I think about it. You guys are gonna get my first impressions. This is the first time that I will be opening it and seeing what it's like, and we'll kind of play around with it and see how it all works and put it together and see what I think of it for the first impressions. I'll probably upload a video later once I get some experience actually using it, but without further ado, let's go ahead and break into the package. Alrighty, let's break into this puppy and see what we got. Now, I actually got a couple of things from them. I purchased a camera arm, or a tree arm, whichever one you want to call it, a fluid head, and a GoPro accessory mount, which I'll show you guys everything. Alright, move this out of the way. So first up we got just our invoice, we got some fancy stickers. That was pretty cool. Those have to go in the bow case, and a little magazine, it looks like. We'll set those off to the side. So first things, let's start out with the actual camera itself first. Alright, this is the Fourth Arrow Micro Triple Arm is what it's called. Set this up to the side. Alright, let's see what we got. Really nice packaging. It's got foam. Alright, so it got, looks like a loose screw or something, and then the camera arm itself. Alright. This out of the bag. So here it is itself. Like I said, this is the Micro Triple Arm. I believe it's I have the Talon base. It's the Talon Micro Triple Arm is what it's called on their site. Like I said, I've done some research on these and kind of looked at them online, but this is my first time hands-on with it, actually looking at it and getting to feel it and see the quality, which right off the bat, I will say it feels very solid. And one thing I was aware is this last section on this right here, this section is rubber coated. These two right here are both still aluminum. I believe that's aluminum. And this last section is rubber coated, so if it hits against like that, it's more of a dull sound rather than a ting. And it looks like you got your connection point for your fluid head, which I'll have to put that on later. I got one of their fluid heads, and then that right there should go into your base. And I don't know what this screw is for exactly. I'm assuming it's just another screw for this. Okay, here, yeah, here's what it is. It's looks to be just a little bit longer than the one that's currently in there. So if you need a longer screw, I believe that's what that's for. At least that's what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and set this off to the side for now. And we'll open it up to the other box and see what we got. Really nice packaging, I'll say that. Next, let's go with the base. Let's see here. This one. I think this. Oh no, that's the Talon accessory. Let's go. Here's the base. Perfect. Alright, so this one, there we go. So this is just the base, which is what, oh, what's that? Oh, that's just a screw that goes into there. So this is the actual base that will get strapped onto the tree, and your camera arm will go in the hole right there, I believe. And then it looks like, yep, you got your, I believe you got your adjustment knob right there for your 360 swivel, or your, yep, you got your ball joint right there, so you can level it. It looks like, yep, you got your level right there. You got your level, and then you got this 360 swiveling head, so you can level it. All right. Like I said, we'll put this all together and kind of see how it all works together once I get everything unboxed and kind of look at it. But right off the bat, it is a little, it's definitely chunkier than the one I have now, but from the looks of it, it is very well built, it feels like. Like I said, I'll have to put it to the test, but as of right now, it feels really well built, so. All right. On to the Talon accessory for the base. It looks like, yep, we got that. Then we got our ratchet strap for the base, it looks like. And then we got some loose screws to put this on. All right. So, I believe, if I'm correct, you'll take all 4 of these little Allen bolts out off this base, and then you will put on the Talon accessory base, which, if you guys haven't seen this, which like I said, I've done some research on it, it collapses real nice, and so you can put it in your pack, but then whenever you want to go put it on the tree, you just fold these guys out, and then you have your little talons there to really dig into the tree. So I'll put that on later. Alright, and like I said, this thing, I mean, it's kind of hefty, but it feels like it should be solid, which I would rather carry a little bit extra weight and have a more secure, better camera arm and setup for good footage and to make sure my camera is solid. Alright. Those 4 screws in there to put it on, but we'll leave those in there so we don't lose them. Alrighty. Last up. So, before I unbox this is the fluid head. I know a lot of people will have issues with fluid heads of them kind of moving forward. Like if you tilt your camera down on your fluid head, it'll kind of rock forward by itself. I did a lot of research before I went ahead and purchased one, and from what I read, this one is supposed to have a pretty good tension adjustment so it won't kind of creep forward with it being front heavy with having a lens on there, especially if you're running a mirrorless camera. So I hope this help fixes that problem, because I know a lot of people have talked about having that issue, so we'll see. Alright, looks like we got our handle for it, and then the fluid head itself. Alright, some bubble wrap, and then plastic. Alright, there's the fluid head itself. I will say, right off the bat, it is bigger than I was expecting, but we'll have to see what we think of it. Get that out of there. We'll set this box off to the side. Alright, so here's the close-up of the fluid head itself. Alright, and like I said, it's pretty hefty. It's bigger, honestly, than I was expecting, but if it works how I hope it will, it'll be worth it. Alright, then it looks like we have our handle right here, which can go on either side, and then looks like we have, is it this? I think you have to loosen that. And then you have your faceplate, which your camera will mount to, which will slide into your fluid head. And then that goes that way. Alright. And I guess that tightens, yep, that tightens that down. So, that parts. And like I said, we'll assemble all this and I'll get a close-up so you guys can see it better here later after I finish unboxing it all. Alright, on to the last box. Now this box actually doesn't have anything to do with the actual camera arm setup itself. This, well, it should be, at least if it's, as long as it's what I ordered, it should be a GoPro accessory mount, which I'll show you guys how, yep, there we go. Just what I was expecting. So, whenever I'm in the tree, I like to use a second angle camera. Besides my main camera, I like to have a second angle, usually a GoPro. Right now I have an off-brand one, but I'm probably going to be upgrading to a GoPro this year. So you kind of, I usually strap it to my hitch strap, which is like a gear hanging strap. If you don't know what it is, it's just you put it around the tree, and that's where you hang your bow from and all your your gear from. What I always do is I'll actually, now I have this, that's where I put my second angle at, and like I said, I put it a GoPro, and that's just the angle of you yourself in the tree. So it'll show you, you know, pulling back your bow. That's what a second angle is for. So what this is basically a clamp that you can clamp to about anything with a flexible kind of rod, or whatever you want to call it. That way you can clamp this up on your hitch strap up above you, and then you can move this little flexible rod wherever you want, so you can get a good second angle of yourself whenever you're in the tree. I'm really excited to use this. I know GoPro themselves makes one. It's kind of like it's got the little like balls that are on top of each other that move. I don't know, I have one of those. It's kind of loud though. Whenever you're adjusting it, it kind of squeaks. So this one, it advertised is quiet, and just messing with it right here, it's super quiet. So I'm really excited to try this out. This is something I was really looking forward to, because it's always cool, in my opinion, to have a good second angle so you can kind of see what you're doing in the tree. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. And that concludes the actual unboxing of it. But I will go ahead, I'm gonna start kind of putting some of this stuff together and seeing how it all works together. So I will go ahead and zoom you guys in. That way you guys can get a better picture of what's going on and see it better. Alright guys, so I zoomed you in pretty close just so I could go over some of the main features of each part of this camera arm system and how they all work together. So the first thing we're going to start with is the actual camera arm base. So the main features of it are, like I've showed before, are the Talon base, that I put on it. And that comes with it, but you have to put it on it whenever you get it in. Like I said, as you can see, it's got the spikes, which will dig into the tree, and those just collapse and for transport mode. That way they aren't sticking out. And then on it for here, if you're looking at it straight on, this knob over here, you unloosen that, or you unscrew that, and that releases your ball joint, so you can move it and level your camera, or do whatever and move it however you need it. Like I said, that's just this right here, and that also tightens it down. Let's get it. Also tightens it down. And then right here on the front, that right there, that is your tension for the actual camera arm slot that your camera arm slides into. So you'll tighten that down, and it locks in your camera arm in there. Those are the main features. Other than this, like I said, it's pretty hefty built, so I bet it'll be pretty solid. It weighs a decent amount, but like I said, if it's that much sturdy and it helped me get good footage, it's worth it. So let's move on to the actual camera arm. So the camera arm is really pretty simple. There's not too much to it besides, it's just a camera arm. Of course, you have your main pin that will slide into the base, which is it's the base of what I just showed you. That's what will slide into that hole. And then, of course, you have 1, 2, and then 3 sections on this camera arm in particular. And then you have your fluid head connection. That's where your fluid head will sit on top of and screw into that stud. And then you have your two main arms right here and right here are going to be aluminum with a rubber coated last arm, which is aluminum but it's coated in rubber. Other than that, it's a basic camera arm, 4th Arrow Micro Talon. It's pretty stiff, which is good because that way it doesn't sag very much. But yeah, there's an overview of the camera arm. Now we're going to move on to the fluid head, where there's a lot of different stuff going on here. So, I guess I'm going to start with the actual camera plate itself. This is what will attach to the bottom of your camera and what will slide in and out of the fluid head. So, to start with, this knob right there, that is your plate tension. So basically that's keeps the plate where it is so it can't slide. So to remove this plate, you'll first have to loosen that knob, and that will allow this plate, as you can see, to move back and forth. But it can't actually go all the way completely out until you press that red button right there, which then you press that red button, and then this will slide all the way out. which that's a nice feature. That way, even if this is loose, the knob right there is loose, your camera can't slide off here. And it's just one more form of security to make sure your camera stays on there at all time and keeps it secure. So we will go ahead and pop that back in. To pop it back in, you just press the red button and slide your base plate back in. And as you can see, it moves, but then you get it where you want it. And then you tighten down that tension knob. And then it is solid, so it won't move whenever your camera's on it. So moving on from there, over here, you have one of two handle connections. You have one right here, and then obviously you have one right where I have my handle connected right now. And then for the tension adjustments on this side, right here, this is your lock. So basically, if you tighten this all the way down, which I'll do right now, and you try and move this, it won't allow it to move at all. That basically locks it down completely. But let's go ahead and loosen that up now. So then, now you can see, now you can pivot it up and down. And this knob right here is your actual tension for being able to move it up and down. So if you have a heavier camera, you'll probably want that a little tighter, or if you have a lighter camera, you probably want it a little lighter, so it moves easier or harder depending on what the weight of your camera is, or just how you like it in your personal preference. Alright, and then lastly, or not last, but then we have this knob right there, which that controls the tension of the actual panning of the fluid head, which right now it's locked down, so you can't pivot it. But if we loosen that up, and I hold the base, then you can see we are able to pivot that. So that's all that is right there. And then you also have right here, that is just simply the knob that attaches your handle and tightens your handle down. And then also one more thing, right there you have a bubble, so that way you can make sure your fluid head is level for your camera. So that's what you got right there. And then one cool feature I'll show is if you go ahead and do this and put it all the way down and you let it go, and I'm not touching it right now, you'll see it slowly kind of returns to level. And that is basically just a built-in system, so that if you have a heavier camera that is a little bit front heavy, so that's what will help keep your camera from falling over and just pointing at the ground. It's kind of like an anti-balance system that keeps it balanced, so your camera doesn't just point straight at the ground. It should keep it right wherever you point it. So from there, that's mainly the main features on this guy. Like I said, it's also pretty chunky. But like I said, if it's worth the wait for it to get good footage and keep my camera wherever I point it, it'll be worth it in my eyes. So here we have my actual GoPro mount from 4th Aero with the flexible rod. So basically this will be used as my second angle. That's what this will be used for. So the features it has, of course, is your clamp. So you can clamp this from anything to a hitch strap, to a limb, to a bow hook. Anything you can think of, you can basically clamp this to. And then, of course, the other feature is the flexible rod, which allows you to get a whole bunch of different angles with your action cam or your GoPro, whichever one you're using. And then it attaches just by this little mechanism right there. You can see it just slides in there, and then you just screw this screw down, and that's what tightens it in there. And this, like I said, you can use this with a GoPro. Most action cams, I'm assuming, would work with this. This is an off-brand one I got off Amazon, so I'm assuming it would work with multiple other brands too. Alright, and moving on to the last thing, it's not really a certain product, it's just part of the actual camera arm set, is the ratchet strap, which it's just a ratchet strap, isn't really. I mean, it's a 1-inch wide ratchet strap, that's one thing. Other than that though, it's just basically a plain old ratchet strap, which I'm not going to bash it yet, but the only thing I will say is that I don't know how much of a fan I'm going to be of a ratchet strap in the woods. Now, I have heard that there is ways to make it quiet and keep it little to no sound, so that I will definitely utilize. Like I said, I'll have to try it and see what I think of it, which as As long as I can keep it quiet, it's fine by me. That's my biggest worry, but I think it'll do just fine. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting all these different pieces together. That way you can kind of see how it all works and how it all goes together, and I'll show you more of the in-depth features on all of them. So first thing we'll start out with is the base itself, or the shoulder. Like I already showed you guys, it has the flip out talons for whenever you're attaching it to your tree. And then over here, this knob right here, is your ball joint loosened, so it allows your ball joint to move, and then you get it where you want it, and then you can just tighten it back up with that knob right there. And then from here, it looks like we have, last thing would be this screw right here, which I believe, I'll see it here in a second, but that screw right there, I believe, is whenever you put your camera arm, is when you put that into there, and then you just tighten that up, and that's what keeps that solid. Other than that, that's all the main features of this. Like I said, it's pretty hefty, but I bet it'll be very solid on the tree, so that's what I'm excited for. Alright, and then next from there, we'll go to the camera arm itself. Like I said, that's what should sort of go in your base. It's pretty straightforward. It's got 3 different sections. It's got your fluid head connection right there. And then you have the last section of it is rubber coated. And that's pretty straightforward. And then this, which has a whole bunch of different stuff built into it, which is the fluid head itself. Of course, you got your handle. You have your handle mount. It can mount on either side, so you can mount on this side or on this side right there. And then you have your actual camera plate, your camera bottom plate release lever. And then that is your tension lever for the bottom camera plate, or no, sorry, this right here is your tension for your camera bottom plate that'll mount to the bottom of your camera to keep it in place. That's what that is. And then you have your tension for your camera head level, which is what will change the tension of it going tilting up and down. And then you have your the lock, which will basically, if you tighten this all the way down, it'll lock this in place so it can't tilt at all. So if you lock that all the way down, it can't tilt at all. So let's go ahead and loosen that up so we can tilt it. And then you have the last thing right there is your, I believe, your tensioner for the actual side-to-side movement, or the pan, you could call it, whenever it sits on top of the camera arm, so it adjusts how easy it goes back and forth. And then you have your bubble level right there, which will help you make sure you keep your fluid head level. And actually, I'm just seeing now also, I didn't realize it had it, but this actually has what they call a return to level spring kind of system. So it's basically for cameras that are pretty heavy, which mine's kind of heavy, but as you can probably see, if I tilt this all the way up, it will slowly go back to center, and that's what should keep the camera from tilting down. It should kind of balance out it so it kind of stays right where you put it. That way you don't have to worry about your camera falling over and just looking at the ground. So let's go ahead and put this whole system together. So like I said, the first thing would be the actual base itself. So let's go ahead and get this ball joint somewhat level on here. Just level with the table, that way everything goes together good. Right there should be pretty close. And then from here, you will take the camera arm itself, and probably should loosen up this first. And then your camera arm looks like, yep, camera arm will sit right in there. And then you can tighten it down. So that should, if I'm guessing, yep, it locks in your camera arm into your base, so it's solid. And then you have your full range of motion. And then from there, you have your fluid head adapter, so that's where your fluid head will screw on. So this guy should just screw. Oh, okay. One last thing I guess I didn't see is this out of the way. Okay, sorry, give me just a second. Let's move this guy out of the way. So on the bottom of this, right there, where it will screw onto the top of your camera arm, there's actually an insert that comes in it, and that is basically for different size of thread, or not different size of threads, but different diameter of studs on the end of camera arms, which for this one, it actually seemed like it was too small. So I actually already had to grab a flat head, and it looks like that just, yep, that just unscrews right out of there. So that way it will fit on the camera arm stud that on my camera arm that I got from 4th Arrow. Toss that piece in there. So now that we got that taken care of, we should be able to screw the camera arm right onto the base itself, or the camera arm itself now. So this should make sure everything's tight on this. Let's go ahead and tighten that screw itself. That way we know that it's tight on there. Let's see here. Is it this? What size is it? Nope, not that one. Well, we might not have something. Alright, well, we'll tighten that down later, but for now, we'll go ahead and rock with it. So, this in frame. Then, just take the bottom of your fluid head right there, and then we'll screw that onto the top of our camera arm. So we should probably go ahead and tighten our camera arm pan down so that way it doesn't just twist, and we can get this as tight as we can. Alright, bam. There is the full camera arm. You got the shoulder, the 3.0 Talon base, the micro triple arm itself, and then the fluid head all from 4th Arrow. What's up, guys? I'm actually recording this outro a few days later from when I recorded the original part of the video, just because I wanted to get one sit in the woods with the 4th Arrow micro Talon triple arm setup before I kind of gave my final closing thoughts and my somewhat of a review on it. I will make a video, a full review of it at the very end of the season once I get to use it for the whole season and learn it more and get more experience with it and kind of learn all the features and find out my likes and my dislikes. So, from my first sit and just my first time using it in the tree, it worked absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, it was my first sit with it in the tree, first time setting it up in the tree. All the way from the base, it held rock solid on the tree. It bit in super great, and then of course the 360 leveling ball joint on it. It worked perfectly because you could level the the base itself, and then you could level out toward your fluid head at the end, which allowed you to get great level footage. And then onto the camera arm, it was super smooth going around the tree, in between the tree and my saddle bridge. It was super smooth, didn't make a noise, and it held super steady. And then this fluid head, let me tell you, this fluid head is probably my favorite part of the whole setup. Just the amount of adjustment on it you have to get your camera to point and hold the exact way you want it to hold and point, it works perfect. It's super smooth panning or going up and down and tilting. It's super smooth. And then, like I said, but one of my biggest concerns was how some cameras will kind of tip forwards if you point them down. But with that knob right there, you can tighten and loosen that till you get it perfectly how you want it. That way, as soon as wherever you point your camera, whenever you tilt it down, whenever you leave it, it doesn't move at all. It is rock solid. Like I said, there's tons of adjustment on it that you can use to make it just how you want it. And also, this camera, the plate on it, the quick release camera plate that you slide in and out, that works phenomenal too. That way you can just put your base on your camera, put that in your pack, and then just slide your camera onto the fluid head once it's set up in the tree. Like I said, the camera arm, I absolutely love the camera arm, the base, the fluid head, the whole setup. It worked phenomenal. As of now, there's no dislikes. It all's pros for me right now. But like I said, I have to get a full season of experience with it, and then I'll make a review at the end of the season going over all of it more in depth. So, on to the actual GoPro accessory mount. Same thing with this, honestly. I don't have any complaints of it as of right now. Like I said, I want to get a full season with it, but and like I said, this thing right here, it's super flexible. You can twist it any sort of which way you want to get the best angle for you. It's super quiet, it doesn't make a lick of noise. And then of course you just stick your GoPro on right there. That worked phenomenal. And then this clamp, I mean, it's pretty stout, I'll be honest. It's what you want, because that way you can grip on anything. For my first set, I just clipped it on my camera arm itself and just pointed the camera like that, and that worked perfect for me. I even stuck it up on my hip strap to kind of get a different angle. That's nice because you kind of get an angle down of you so you can kind of see around you too. So that's nice. But you can clip this thing about anywhere. Like I said, whether that be on your camera arm, your hip strap, a bow hanger, maybe you have a limb to the side, that works great too if you have one near you. So that worked great. Like I said, super silent, super cool to get different sorts of angles that you normally wouldn't have it. And it just works awesome for little GoPros. And then on to the last part, which is just the ratchet strap. I know in the original part, or the original part of the video, I was kind of worried about it being a ratchet strap. But after using it the first time, like I said, you can make it quiet to where it doesn't click at all. And especially also if there's like some wind going on or something like that, the clicks are so minute, it doesn't really seem to be that big a deal at all. But like I said, like if it's in the morning, you know, it's a super calm morning, like I said, you can stick your finger in there, hold that spring back, and ratchet it back and forth, and you don't make literally like hardly any noise at all. So like I said, that really wasn't an issue. But overall, everything that I got from them, like I said, right now, I honestly don't have a con at all about it. It's all pros so far, but also, like I said, it's only my first set, so I'll have to get some more experience with it. So yeah, that's my first impressions on the camera arm setup itself. This is the 4th Arrow Micro Talon triple arm, and then the GoPro accessory mount. If you guys like the content or like the video, feel free to give the channel a subscribe and also like the video. I'll be bringing a lot more content this season on saddles, or saddle hunting, land management, one-stick climbing, that's how I climb. I'll do, of course, filming my hunts in general and hunting content. Basically anything you can think of to do with hunting, I'll be filming. And if you guys have any questions or want me to film any videos, just leave those down in the comments and I can answer those questions. And I can even make a video on some of them if you want to. So I'll go ahead, and also if you guys want to look at this stuff yourself, this 4th Arrow camera arm or the GoPro accessory mount, I'll leave the links down below in the description. Like I said, this is the 4th Arrow Micro Talon triple arm with the GoPro accessory and then the fluid head. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And like I said, any comments you guys or any questions you have, just leave those down below and I'll be sure to answer those. This is Ost S Outdoors, and we are out.